to have lost 3 straight. I mean, this checks all the Gridiron Gamble boxes, and here you are clicking the other side like an idiot.
Hello, world, and welcome back to Grid Iron Gamble, the only podcast that puts its money where its mouth is. I'm your host, Rich Ryan, and I'm joined by the entire collective, the Disciple, Brett Colson, Donnie, DP Peters, and the resident moose himself, Mo Nawara. If you are watching this on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Listeners, rate and review on your podcatcher of choice. 5 stars only. Like Charles Cross from Laurel, Mississippi. Mississippi State. Look at the looks from you guys. That's my objective when I go into the 5 stars, is to find somebody where it's like, what the hell? That guy was 5 stars. Sometimes I'll search rivals and they'll be like 3 stars, and I'm like, no.
Where did he go to school? I don't even know who that guy is.
Mississippi State. He's a tackle for.
He was a first round pick.
When?
2 years ago? Last year? Last year.
Oh,
right?
wow. Missed that one.
2 years ago, I think.
3-2 last week, 3rd straight winning week for the collective. We're up to 12-13 in Circa Sports Million, and a bit fortunate because only one member of the collective had a winning top 5, and that was Bert Minotti, the God, who went 3-2. Donnie and I went 2-3. Mo went 1-4. Donnie leads the way on the season at 15-10. DP leading the way. We are in Circa Sports Million, where, of course, we submit 5 games against the spread every single week. Each of us submits 1 game, and then the 5th and final game comes from the collective aggregate machine. If you see a team below us in one of these games and it is gold, that signifies that it is in a host's top 5. I made a big mistake last week. I kept saying it was bubbling, and that's because there were a couple of teams on bye. So when I was like looking at the rankings, the normal number next to it, but the graphics were correct on YouTube. When I was listening back, I made that correction visually. Everyone must have been like, this guy's an idiot. He kept saying it's not top 5 when it's clearly gold on the screen. Let's get into the games this week, and the first one is an AFC West tilt between the Los Angeles Chargers and the Denver Broncos. The Broncos are home dogs as the Chargers are coming off of a bye, but the Broncos just keep winning, but somehow are not getting market support in this game. And Donnie and Mo are both on the home dog. Donnie with the most conviction out of the two of them. So DP, kick us off and tell us why you're on Bo Nix and Dem Boys.
So, are the Chargers just a more neon version of the Steelers?
More neon? This is a great take. A more powdered blue version.
Yeah, powdered blue, bright yellow. I mean, right? Same yellow, just a little bit brighter. Again, more neon. I mean, yes, they have a better quarterback, of course, but is Justin Herbert being allowed to like unleash in this offense? I don't think so. I mean, they play this very conservative, run first, wannabe heavy, pound style. I don't think they have as good of a defense as the Steelers do, although, you know, defense seems to be kind of their calling card in some ways. I don't know how that type of team can go on the road in a tough place to play against a very, very good defense and an offense that I've only seen improve in recent weeks and lay a full field goal. I don't see it.
Mo, pile on. This team got you the cover last week on our card.
Yeah, I did the reverse Donnie from the week before. I put the my only winner on the card, so you're welcome. But this matchup, man, I'm just gonna. Why isn't the market respecting this Denver defense? I'm just gonna keep pounding Denver until somebody shows me that they can whoop Denver's ass. I mean, the Chargers, I feel like this is like a crazy line. How are they laying a field goal in Denver? I have these teams close in my power rating. Like, what? These teams are not that far apart. Why? I understand that the Chargers have a better quarterback, but this Denver defense is legit, man. And this total is 36. So 3 points is massive in this game. I don't know how a hobbled Chargers offensive line is going to block this Denver front. I mean, they're wrecking everybody. Maybe Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater are going to play. I was hoping they wouldn't play, but this was down to 2.5 last I looked, so the market is with me. unfortunately, I think that's going to make it popular. But if Donnie is more excited than me about this, then I think I know what's going to happen with this game.
Slater and Alt have both been practiced all week. Alt was a full participant here on Thursday. I really like the Chargers in this game. First off, I'll address the popularity. I think the Broncos will be very popular in this spot, catching a full 3 points. They're getting 62% of the tickets right now, coming off of 3 straight wins, 2 on the road, and then last week at home. But how often can they just feast off 90-yard interception returns for touchdowns? Like, at some point, offense has to matter. You have to be able to move the football. Better coach, better quarterback. That's all being priced into this line. But yeah, I like the Chargers this week. Brett, you didn't have a strong opinion, but you're making some faces over there, so I'll let you put a pin on this game.
That pick six was so tilting last week. They were a yard away from 17-3. The Raiders were, and then that just
tilting
completely
for who?
flipped
Who were
the
you
game.
rooting for?
The Raiders.
He had real American dollars in the Raiders. Remember last week he said, I don't bet on sides anymore, but I've got the Raiders in my account. The Raiders were Brett's number 2 pick last week.
I love the Raiders last week. I just think people are going to pile Broncos in the contest here. All they do is cover every week, so they must be the side again here as home dogs, right? That's the cap for me. I think this is probably a fair number. If not, like, I agree with Mo and Donnie that it probably should be short of 3, but I do think that is gonna. I think people are going to be on Denver, and that's really my cap.
Buy Ladd McConkey in fantasy. I'm parroting my guy, JJ Zacharyson. His peripherals through the first couple weeks of the season have been off the charts. Schedule is going to get a lot easier. A little more comfortability with the Harbaugh offense. Ladd McConkey is a buy in fantasy. Let's head across the pond. The red hot Chicago Bears are 2-point favorites at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars playing one of 2 consecutive games in foggy old London town. The Bears are 2-point favorites in the contest, and Brett is on our team, the collective zone, Jacksonville Jaguars.
There's no way that's true. I've never been on the Jags. This is, for me, I'm really curious to see what people in the contest do with this game. Short of 3, I see Chicago being popular. However, there is the narrative that Jacksonville is going again into London, where they've played the past however many years. They've played well too. Beat Buffalo last year. I think this should be closer to a pick. I think selling the Bears, like you said, they are red hot. Their stock continues to climb. When do we start to sell this team? I think now is a good time. So I do like the Jags. I think this should just be a pick given the travel dynamic.
Matt Eberflus making his first trip to London as a head coach against a team that has institutional stability when it comes to making this trip, having doing so pretty much every year. Recently, we've got a big injury in Jaquan Brisker in the secondary for the Bears, which will allow this Jags passing attack to maybe continue to eat. As Brian Thomas Jr. just is a guy. He's just a guy. Like, he's one of these young receivers that is just going to come into the league and immediately have an impact on the field. So I'm leaning the Jags way as well. DP, you've got the highest opinion on Chicago in the middle of your picks. So tell us why you're on the Bears.
Because I hate this Jaguars team. Every time I go to support them, they screw. Yeah, every time I go to support them, they screw me. So I'm not doing it. I don't care. That's my cap, and I don't care if people don't like it. I hate this stupid Jaguars.
They covered
every time I click them, they screw me.
You picked them last week, and they
I know. But still, the majority of the time, they screw me. So I feel like when it's a slam dunk, I can't do it. And I feel like this seems pretty slam dunky, +2. Bears at the peak, but I'm still clicking the stupid Bears. Something's going to happen. The Jaguars are going to blow it. Trevor Lawrence is going to overthrow people by 50 yards every freaking time. You know, Etienne will go back to fumbling three times in the game. Like, it's going to happen.
It might be the Tank Bigsby show. The way
It should be the
carries
Tank Bigsby show. It should be.
were being distributed last week. Should get some better weather in North London this weekend. No rain in the forecast for this contest as opposed to last week. AFC South, Colts at Titans. The Titans are 2.5-point favorites in the contest. And guys, I hate to say it, I really do, but I absolutely love Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans as favorites in the year 2024 of this Lord, of our Lord. Mo, this is rule of Mo. Look at this injury report. Who is playing receiver for the Colts in this game? Pittman, out. Josh Downs, 2 DNPs, trending towards out. A.D. Mitchell, WR1, Alec Pierce, something the most prolific, the most efficient receiver in football, Alec Pierce, WR2. We've got maybe Anthony Richardson coming back, which I think is probably good for backers of the Tennessee Titans. They had a bye. They had a chance to get things together. If there was ever a spot for this Titans offense to finally get something going, it could be against this Colts defensive staff who trots the same thing out, play after play, nothing exotic, and can let the Titans eat in this spot. Mo, you're doing a lot of head shaking over there. Who in this contest is submitting a card with the Tennessee Titans as favorites?
Nobody. So you got me there. I didn't see all these guys out, actually, besides Pittman. I knew Pittman was out because I have him in a couple spots in fantasy. I mean, I'm thinking this is going to be Joe Flacco still just flinging it to covered guys. Who cares who's out there if it's a Joe Flacco? He's going to throw to every covered receiver and just see what happens. Like the highest variance plays imaginable and, whatever. But yeah, I can't deny anything you're saying about contest play. There is no way people are submitting the Titans as favorites here. I just refuse to believe that would ever happen. So I could see the Colts, especially if Flacco goes, people are excited for him, whatever. I could see the Colts being very popular, actually.
Not to mention Jonathan Taylor. I think this is obvious, though, high ankle sprain. They've been trying to play this whole thing coy. Like his first week of the high ankle sprain, they were like, yeah, he could be practiced. Like nobody comes back earlier than like 2 to 3 weeks with a high ankle sprain. So I don't anticipate seeing Jonathan Taylor out for the Colts as well. Bengals at Giants. The Bengals are 3.5-point favorites in the contest. 5.5 on the look ahead. But after the G's went to the Pacific Northwest and kind of laid the wood on the Seattle Seahawks, sans Malik Neighbors, who will probably miss this game once again, this line has crept down. And Mo is buying those lost points and laying the 3.5 with Cincinnati on the road.
This is such a fish side. I hate that I clicked on the Bengals, but I'm like actually considering betting on them because I just think this is such a good spot to sell off the Giants, dude. They won last week with 120 yards to Darius Slayton. All right. How many times is that going to happen? Dude, I've watched Daniel Jones several times this year because, like I said, the Giants were covering for me. And I actually kind of wanted to bet the Seahawks last week. His deep ball is atrocious. I don't believe that he can keep throwing 120 yards to Darius Slayton. So if he doesn't do that, how are they going to keep up with the Bengals, dude? How are they going to keep up with this offense? Say what you want about the Bengals, but they have elite receivers who are absolutely clowning DBs that don't match up with them. That's what they did to the Ravens last week, who have way better players than the Giants, and they are going to clown these Giants cornerbacks, you guys. I don't know how the Giants can slow this offense down unless they get a ton of pressure. But the Bengals offensive line has been doing fine work protecting Joe Burrow. So I just think they're going to get cut to pieces in a spot where people have confidence in them after last week. They had a nice win. And it was kind of a bad spot for the Seahawks, to be honest, coming off taking a pounding from Detroit. And then looking ahead to probably the biggest game of their season at home against the 49ers here. So, yeah, I I think the Giants basically ambushed them and had a lot of things go right, and I don't think it's going to happen again.
Donnie meant to make a great point last week about the rest advantage that the Giants had because the Seahawks had just played a tough overtime game and then had to come back and play that spot. Man, that Neighbors injury was just brutal, man. If I wish we had just had like I wish it was like a leg injury with Neighbors and he was just kind of like gimping around and like suited up injured, because then it probably would have presented more of a spot for us to take the Giants there. But with the line movements and getting north of 7, that was just a real brutal spot. Brett, you're making a lot of faces over there, but you, like me, have the Giants very low. But I'd be interested to hear why you had that reaction when Mo said he's on the Bengals.
Because it is the fish side, but it's because everybody's gonna click Bengals here, even at 3.5. I have no notes in this game. All I looked at was the number because I don't know what the Giants are. That game last week was so confusing to me. Maybe it was just the rest advantage over Seattle because how were the Giants moving the ball? That makes no sense. So like, and if they're gonna they could do it again this week too against this Bengals defense. So I don't know what this game is. So all I looked at was the number and the fact that people are just gonna click Bengals, and so I clicked Giants. It's very low on my card.
The Bengals are just like the opposite of what we've been saying for many years now, that all that matters is passing offense, because all I'm seeing is green for all their passing offense metrics. They have a positive 0.5 net yards per play, and yet they can't win a damn football game. 1-4 on the season so far. Those are the split games. Unfortunately, last week, the Lone Wolves did quite well. I believe 4-2 was the record. So let's see if some solos can get through again. All right, I've got a trio of Lone Wolves, including the only Lone Wolf that is in someone's top 5, and it's a fascinating game. I guess an angry Texan might say that, because I've got the Texans -7 traveling to New England to play on the Patriots. Donnie's laughing over there. So this is a fascinating cap for me, because
I'm laughing at your use of the sounder, which makes no sense whatsoever.
You don't think a bull would?
No, what are you talking about? They're not the freaking Bulls anyway. They're the Texans.
I know, but it's a bull. The mascot is a bull. Okay, so we've got Drake May finally in at quarterback for the New England Patriots. Everybody who's terrified that this offensive line is just going to have him die on the football field is just going to be sitting down on their hands, worried for 60 minutes. But this was far overdue for the Patriots to make this move. Still don't understand why they didn't go with the soft landing spot of the Miami Dolphins last week. Get him used to some live game reps before you bring in a very good Houston Texans defense, which is 7th in adjusted sack rate and 9th in pressure rate. What's interesting to me about this game is, just from a contest perspective, I think people are going to be excited about Drake May and think that he is going to be an instant shot in the arm for this team, when in reality, we have to address this situation logically and say that there is some upside to Drake May. He's athleticism, very mobile, probably a much stronger arm even at this point than Brisker, who Brisket can't get the ball
probably
downfield at all.
That guy can't throw the ball more than 8 yards.
Yeah. But what comes with Drake May making his first start in professional football is such a wide range of outcomes that even if he ends up being a good football player, we saw just this season, Jaden Daniels did not look good the first time that he stepped on a professional football field. So I think Drake May could crap the bed. And then I'm looking at a very reliable and influential offshore market, and the +7 is juiced crazily. I'm talking -119 on the plus the last time I saw. So there is a world where this comes off of 7 by the weekend. The -7 becomes a leverage side in addition to the excitement of Drake May, and the Texans, who have some warts of their own with Nico Collins now going on IR, become a very, very, very interesting side. in the contest. All that being said, they are in my top 5. Don't love it. This Houston team is still baffling. They did not play well against your Buffalo Bills last week, Brett, but found a way to win because your Buffalo Bills decided to throw the ball 3 times in the shadow of their own goalpost.
How does
Brett,
he
you're on the
still
other-
have a job? How does this guy still have a job?
Brett, maybe they might not after Monday night.
Because
He
the
might
team
not.
is the team is good enough. Like they still like make the playoffs and whatever, so they're not going to fire him when they should.
Brett, you've got
Right.
the opposite side. +7, Pats, top 5.
This is just a lot of points to lay on the road, especially having lost your number one weapon. I don't think Houston's offense is good enough to be laying a number like this going into New England. Like, I understand, yes, it's a rookie quarterback making his debut against D'Amico Ryans, but there's offensively they're so one-dimensional. And now relying on Diggs and Dell, who's been invisible since coming off the injury. I think the Pats can keep this close enough times that this is just too big a number. The number is interesting now that we're seeing that it could land at 6.5 Saturday. So maybe some people will load up with New England in the contest, but I don't know. I think this is going to be one of those situations where it just ends up pretty close on both sides.
Total of 38. So really the only path to covering this number for the Texans and what should be a low-scoring game is to keep the Patriots to like 7 points, right? So it's going to take a great defensive effort from D'Amico Ryan's defense and Drake May to have some of those maiden voyage issues. My next Lone Wolf, Bucks at Saints. These last 2 Lone Wolves are my very bottom picks, literally second to last and last. And I just can't do the Spencer Rattler thing, guys. Sorry. The last time I saw this guy throw footballs, he was supposed to be the 1.1. He was the Heisman favorite. He was at Oklahoma. And then what did he end up at? SC? The other SC? The fake SC? Something Gamecocks? People were excited about him in the preseason. Well, now you got your shot to see if he can come in and play quarterback in pro football. The interior of the offensive line is still injured with Cesar Ruiz. So, yeah, I can't do it. Todd Bowles against a rookie quarterback. Who runs better than Todd Bowles? I know he blew it against Bo Nix, but like the quarterbacks that this guy has faced this season have been uninspiring to say the least. DP is all in on Spencer Rattler and the New Orleans Saints in his...
Well, what are you doing? This is a Gridiron Gamble special, Rich.
Oh.
Something Rattler.
I do not want Jake Luton on the
The
card.
line in real life is 3.5. We're only getting 3. By absolute lowest on the Saints, who have lost 3 straight. I mean, this checks all the Gridiron Gamble boxes, and here you are clicking the other side like an idiot. Come on.
Barely clicking.
Stay on brand.
Short week for something Spencer Rattler to prepare for Todd Bowles.
This can't be Jake Luton, though. This kid had all the pedigree, 5-star, like number 1 kid coming out of high school. Maybe there's something.
I was going to say, not just
maybe there's
5 star.
something
He was
Rattler?
the number 1 quarterback, I think.
Yeah.
Did you watch that show on, what was it on, where he was one of like the 3 people? That
QB1?
kid is a massive tool bag. Okay? Massive. Okay? There was like, but I'm going to be backing him. Okay? Because that's what we do.
Jake Luton
This
was
is a great
5.6. I'm stealing the most bit. But Jake Luton was 5.63 star, okay? He wasn't like a total nobody. Mo, you're the unprofesh guy. What is Spencer Rattler going to do in pro football on Sunday?
I would guess he's going to poop his pants, but I mean, Donnie's sitting here talking about how much of a tool bag he is, and like that's everything I heard too about that. But at the same time, this is a rookie, like 5th rounder in an NFL locker room. There's no way he's getting away with that type of attitude in there, man. He's got to be getting humbled every day up there. So I feel like he's probably going to be at least ready to give it his best. I don't think, but like it depends on what Bucs defense we see, honestly. Like what we saw against the Falcons, I believe any team in the world can move the ball on that defense. I don't know if it's Antoine Winfield is that important, or what the situation is. I didn't check to see if he's coming back yet this week. But because I didn't even
trending for both Antoine Winfield and Kalijah Kancey to make their returns this week.
That could be big because, I mean, what the BUCS were doing against the Falcons was embarrassing. And I don't know. This just seems like a spot where everyone is going to take Tampa Bay. So that's why I just put the Saints in the middle of my card. But I don't have any confidence in it. But everyone is going to take Tampa Bay here, I think.
Can't the Saints pass rush get after Baker, and that's horrible for Baker? Baker is two people. Baker, good pockets, great. Baker, under pressure, not so much.
For sure. And the BUCS are 29th in adjusted sack rate up front. So that is within the range of outcomes. But you're still going to need first downs from Spencer Rattler in order to be competitive in this game. It's a tough spot. At least it's at home for the kid. My last lone wolf, I am the captain on the Titanic. The boat is sinking. I am the literal last person standing supporting the Dallas Cowboys against the Detroit Lions. I can't get off, guys. They're handing me a life vest. They're fitting it around me. They're begging me to jump overboard with them, but I got to stay on the ship. I have to take it all the way to the bottom.
Staying on the ship with Dak Prescott and Jerry freaking Jones, man. You got issues.
Brett's making those faces. Donnie and Mo are higher. They both have them in their top 5. Mo, the public darling Detroit Lions.
This reminds me so much of Lions Seahawks. I mean, isn't this just a massive mismatch in the trenches? Like, I know everyone's going to be like, oh yeah, the Cowboy, this high flying passing game against this Detroit secondary, total of 52. How are the Cowboys going to do anything up front on either side of the ball? The only running game that they've been able to stop is the Giants this entire season. So they're going to get crushed by this Detroit offensive line. I'm assuming Parsons is out again. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I think this is just a trenches mismatch on both ends. And this reminds me, again, same thing I've been saying about Dallas like every week, and Donnie, I think, has said it multiple times. I mean, if CeeDee Lamb can just go for 200 yards and single-handedly score 40 and cover this number, then I guess I'm just going to pay to see it. But I just think this Lions team is better than the market is treating them. Every time they were short favorites like this last year, from my memory, they just were smashing people. I feel like this is just, I feel like they're not being treated like a Super Bowl contender, and Dallas is just a mediocre team, man, and a mediocre team with a lot of injuries. So I guess I got to pay for CeeDee Lamb to just win an entire football game by himself.
Back-to-back DNPs for Micah Parsons, who is trending towards being out once again. DP, you've got Man Campbell and the kneecap biters in your top 5 as well.
I mean, I don't really see how the Dallas D gets a stop. I mean, at all. Would Detroit, I feel like, can do whatever they want, run the ball, pass the ball, and score at will. On the other side, I mean, like Mo said, I think it's easy to point out Dallas passing attack against the secondary, but I also say that can easily fall apart because if this Detroit front gets after Dak Prescott, that is an absolute disaster. And that guy is not going to do well in that environment. So yeah, I mean, I think the Lions can kind of name their score here and just run it up and really control the game. And on the other side of the ball, put Dak and company in a lot of trouble.
Entering last week, no team in the NFL had more net picks in their favor in Circa Sports Million than the Detroit Lions. I think they will be top 5 once again this weekend. We'll keep it with
Aren't people going to be excited to get points with Dallas here?
No.
I don't think so.
Nobody likes Dallas. I'm the last one. People are treating this team worse than a middle-of-the-pack team, Mo. It's me. Me and me alone that supports Big Dave.
I loved them last week, but I'm done. This is where it stops. I think they're gonna get. I think they're gonna get steamrolled. I wanted to put them in my top. I wanted to put Detroit in my top 5 this week, but I do think they are going to be extremely popular.
The team that the Cowboys beat, the Pittsburgh Steelers, traveled to Donnie's hometown or at least current town of Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. The Raiders are +3 in the contest, and DP, you were laying the 3 points with your guy, Mike Tomlin. This bubbled your top 5.
Yeah, listen, I can't quit this Steelers team. I can't do it. I refuse to do it. Now they get to face Aiden O'Connell, who doesn't have Devontae Adams, and I have no idea what the state of this Raiders team is. Who's trying, who's not, like what's going on there? Is Aiden O'Connell even good? The guy, from what I've seen, is not good. He's got to face arguably the best defense or one of the best defenses in football now. Yeah, I think the Steelers D is going to feast here, and this is going to be another game where I don't think the Raiders are going to be able to score any points. Not that the Steelers are going to be able to score points, because we know they can't, but I don't think the Raiders are going to be able to score. I just don't. So that's where I'm at in this game. And I know it's fishy, and everyone here is talking about the Steelers, but yeah, what are you going to do?
If you were in the Discord, bit.ly/Discord moves, you would know that Mo was on the precipice of putting real American dollars on the Raiders, and then AOC was named as the quarterback. So he put those dollars promptly back into his pocket. But Brett sees a spot, sees perhaps a leverage opportunity with 63% of the tickets on, more than that, 73% of the tickets on the Pittsburgh Steelers. So he's got the Raiders in his top 5.
Yeah, it's the same cap as previous week with Fields. Just laying points. I don't trust this dude or this offense as a favorite, especially on the road. Now, the Raiders might be the worst team in the league right now, especially with Crosby hobbled.
By the way, this isn't going to be on the road.
This is true. There's going to be a lot of terrible
tickets to get in. Tickets to get in for this game are out of control due to the Steelers' demand.
There's some travel.
It's like $650 to get in the building.
It's the Vegas flu. Like it's still a road game.
Vegas flu.
But
Brett thinks TJ Watt's going to be at the Rhino tonight.
You don't know. I think the Steelers are going to be extremely popular in this one. I can't see anybody lining up to take Aiden O'Connell on the Raiders, so that's ultimately why they made my card here. But it does terrify me because I don't know what the hell this Raiders offense is.
Big injuries on both sides. Jacoby Myers hasn't practiced this week with an ankle injury. If he is not in, then Trey Tucker is WR1.
Where's Hunter Renfrow?
Where's my is guy? So dusty.
It's probably at the park down the street running routes.
And the Steelers have already announced that Nick Herbig will miss this game with a hamstring injury. And everybody loves TJ Watt, but Herbig has made a big step this year on the other side of that defensive line. So if Vegas is able to just slide protection Watt's way, I say that as simple as that, then you block TJ Watt, but it'll be a lot easier to slide protection when you don't have to worry about big Nate Herbig on the other side. Brett is up next, and there is one game which we discussed briefly before we hit the big red record button that was very confusing to all of us. And it is the Baltimore Ravens playing host to their DMV comrades, the commies themselves, the formerly racial slurs, formerly the football team, now Commanders. The Ravens are 6.5-point favorites in the contest. And I guess all of these supercomputers that are being used to make these lines are just stuck on August 2024, because although this did come off of 7, which is a key number, and the move from 7 to 6.5 is much larger than other numbers in handicapping, there's not much being built in here for just how good Washington has looked this season, stepping up in class last week against a good Cleveland Browns defense and still doing the damn thing. And Brett, I think the word leverage is going to come up here because people have fallen in love with Washington this season, and I think they're going to stay at +6.5 and be frothing at the mouth.
There's that, and there's also I'm just I pick a team every year where I'm just overly stubborn, and I can't get away.
Well, the good thing is you put the Ravens below the fold, so you're not going full stubborn here.
True, but yeah, for me, it's just martingale season. Like, could the price point be any higher on Washington? Maybe it can. Maybe this is the best team in the NFC. Maybe it is, but I'm just gonna trust my gut, trust my eyes here that Daniels has a stinker coming, and it could be this week in Baltimore. So yeah, a couple of reasons why I like the Ravens here.
This is the week for the stinker. Mo has the highest opinion on Jaden Daniels and the commies in his top 5.
I mean, it's just like so stupid because I've been on the same train as Brett, but then it's just, he says that. So he says, could the price be any, but then the line's 6.5. So it's like, which one is it? Because the number is still 6.5 here. So it's like the market isn't giving them that much credit. So I don't even feel like I'm like buying high right now if I take Washington, because wouldn't this number have been 6.5 in like week 3? I mean, I'm just, the market is acting like Washington.
No, come on,
isn't legit.
What was the look at on this? I actually didn't see that.
It was 7. It was a full 7 last week.
It's not even moving.
So I've got to ask. I'm pulling up the Lions power rankings right now. The Washington Commanders come in at 12. The Baltimore Ravens come in at 4. Where did you, gentlemen, Brett, where did you have the Commanders and the Ravens this week?
I've been on vacation, so I have not submitted my power rankings. I don't have power rankings.
I think I had
you deserve it. For a man who works,
Baltimore,
for a man who pushes as many papers as you.
I will tell you, I would not have the Commanders anywhere near 12. So there's that.
12 and what? You wouldn't have them near in what direction? You would have them closer to 18 or closer to
I think I just made that
5.
I think I made that pretty clear. I think they'd be closer to 20 than 5.
Interesting. Yeah, this is just another game where I cannot wait to lay eyes on this game, because I mean, there's a world where, yeah, like Mo said, the market is just incredibly wrong about this game, and this should be closer to a field goal. And there's also a world that exists where Jaden Daniels comes right back to earth. Cliff Kingsbury looks like the horizontal raid moron that we're used to seeing call offense in pro football, and all the MVP hype slows to a screeching halt on Monday morning for Mr. Daniels. Mo, you've got one lone wolf. It's another bird, because you were taking 4.5 points with Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals as they travel to Lambeau to take on the Green Bay Packers.
I don't have much to say about this game. Pretty close to the number for me. So just took the dog. I mean, and the side that I think, dude, so if the Packers win, I feel like they cover a lot. Like I don't even know how to cap the Cardinals. It's like either it's a 40-point game or they win outright as dogs, or like it's just the number, it's 20 points off every Cardinals game. So I don't even know what to do with the Cardinals. It's like, is Kyler Murray going to come out and take a dump? Because if he does, the defense probably isn't going to get a stop, and the Packers are going to boat race them. But honestly, at the same time, dude, Jordan Love has not played very well this year. I think that he's made quite a few mistakes. I'm willing to cut him some slack, obviously the injury, but I'm not that impressed so far. And Dontavion Wicks sucks, and he's like WR1 right now. I mean, I don't know what's going on with this team.
No, he's back.
Now.
He's back to WR3.
What the hell are you talking about?
Romeo
they might
Dobbs
get Watson back too.
Watson's back at practice. They still have a guy named Jaden Reed, who is very good at football. Tucker Kraft had his coming out party last week. This is just LaFleur and a million weapons against the team that ranks 32nd in success rate stopping the pass. Mo, you're staring at 3 people that have the Green Bay Packers in their top 5. Nobody higher, however, than Minotti Rickles.
Yeah, Mo hates the Packers. I love the Packers. I think this is a great sell spot on the Cardinals coming off that big win last week. Look ahead here was 5.5. I know that's an all but meaningless move to 4.5, but I think 4.5 is too low. I think this should just be 6. I am a big believer in this Packers team, and it looks like they will be healthier coming into this week. And I think the contest is probably going to lean Arizona, too. A popular team, a pesky team that can score with anyone, but I don't see them keeping up Green Bay and all these weapons coming back. I think we'll finally see Green Bay and the Jordan Love that we saw last year come into play this week.
Entering last week, Arizona was 10th in positive leverage in the contest. Green Bay was 30th. I think that was because of the Eagles game, week 1, I think, or just some of the. Oh no, duh! It's
Malik
Willis was playing quarterback for the Packers for 2 weeks. DP, you also had the Packers in your top 5. Put a pin on this contest.
I mean, this is a great spot for the Packers offense to look amazing, right? I mean, come on, name the score, baby. Let's go.
Simple as that. I would like Jordan to sprinkle in some picks, though. Just 2 picks, meaningless picks. Got to get that plus 2,000 home. I actually got a better number. Our good friend, Mickey Doft, out in Florida still. Hard Rock was hanging a plus 4,000 for Jordan Love to lead the league in interceptions. So we went in on a nice little wager on Jordan Love to do that. The Lone Wolves. I have the Texans, BUCS, and my Dallas Cowboys. Donnie has his Pittsburgh Steelers. We got to get you a terrible towel. You love Tomlin and them boys. Brett's on the Ravens.
I'm going to order one right now.
Good.
Right now.
Mo's on the Cardinals. Those are the Lone Wolves. Time for a 4th winning week, boys. It's time to make a card.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire.
Best record last week was Bert Minotti, and he's got the game we literally just discussed.
Yeah, it feels a little gross. This second straight week, I've had a pretty big favorite on the card. But yeah, I've got Green Bay.
Bum, bum, bum. Banana. Go, Pack, go. Donnie's up next, and he's got a pick that is going to make Mo happy, sniping Mo's second pick. Which home dog do we got, DP?
Bo Nix, baby. Let's go.
Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. That'll be it's going to be a blast to sweat that one. Low total ugly affair in Denver on Sunday. Okay, I'm up next, and my number 1 this week is speaking of gross. It is the Tennessee Titans minus 2.5, going full ugly, going full Levis. You never want to go full Levis. My number 2 pick, I'm willing to discuss because it is a consensus pick that will not be going on the card as of now. So I've got the Titans logo up there, but I'm more than willing to be convinced to switch picks because I trust the collective. Mo is up next and is going to finally put, well, I guess the Packers are good, but he's going to put another good football team on the card.
Yeah, I only had a few sides that I liked this week, so I put a ton of points on on my stuff. On like
he might have had influence. He might have had a strong influence on the team that the collective was about to mention because he had 35 of 100 consensus points on the team that the collective chose.
I don't like this week, man. So yeah. I have the Lions, but I really like the collective pick then.
All right. Let's get to the collective pick.
The collective chooses
the deadest of dead cat balances. Incoming in MetLife Stadium on Monday Night Football as Jeff Ulbrich takes the reins for Gang Green. Robert Saleh is shown the door. 2.5 in the contest the Jets are getting against their division rival.
The Bills make me wanna.
Interesting week, to say the least, in Florham Park for my beloved Jets. A lot of intrigue as to why Saleh was fired, what the influence of the quarterback was in Aaron Rodgers. They announced today that Hackett will no longer have play calling duties. They will go to Todd Downing, who was previously the OC in Tennessee, and before that had a 1-year stint with the then Oakland Raiders. As his tenure as an OC, pretty much middle of the road. I believe it was 16th with the Raiders in EPA per play, 18th with the Titans. And then in 2022, the year after they traded A.J. Brown, they were 25th. Awful on offense, and he was fired from that staff. If there's ever a spot for the Jets to come out and look normal, it's going to be this one after firing their coach. And Brett, it is a team that the Jets have owned, especially on defense over the last couple of years. Josh Allen sees some ghosts, has some nightmares every time he steps onto that MetLife turf.
Sure does. I'm not sure the Bills should even be favored here. I don't think this is a team that is that much better than the Jets. Great time to buy him, sure, 2 straight losses, but man, he has historically, like you said, struggled against this defense in this environment, and now playing with a receiving unit that these guys can't separate. Like, the difference between this team and teams Allen's has played with in the past is evident. These guys can't get open. Allen can improvise, but like, the window is only so big before he turns back into the Josh Allen experience. And we've seen that over the past couple weeks. This is a problem, and they have not addressed it. And I think if the Jets can get Breece Hall going, they're going to be fine this week. I think the Jets are just going to win this game outright.
Morgan Moses back at practice is huge for the Jets. As I said, Olu Fashanu has really struggled in the run game, and they've got 2 running backs who run completely differently, right? Breece is somebody who wants to get outside and run zone, pick a gap, and get upfield. And then you've got Braylon Allen, who just wants to be a gap running back. Tell me the gap, and I'm just going to get there as fast as possible and knock somebody on their ass. So they've had more success in gap runs because they haven't had the same integrity on the outside that Morgan Moses presents in run blocking. So getting him back might play a big role there. And then, yeah, this is a Jets team that's just played 2 really good defenses, right? The Vikings and the Broncos are very good at defense. They get to come back to life here against a Bills team that is still a little banged up. 23rd in pressure rate. Yeah, just a beautiful spot. Mo, we keep talking. You've got a million confidence points on the Jets here.
Yeah, I mean, when you just look at this matchup, I just think, like, I agree with a lot of what Brett said. First of all, that I do think maybe the Jets should be favored here. The way the chess match works out with these teams, I mean, you got a Bills team that, like Brett said, that receivers aren't getting open. So if they aren't getting open, you know, the OC just wants to pound the rock anyway. But, I mean, is that going to work on the Jets? I don't really think so. They can just, like, put a ton of bodies in the box. I know we saw this defense really crumble against the run when they faced the 49ers, but a more creative rushing attack there, and then you have a more threatening group of pass catchers there, obviously, that they're worried about. And here you just have terrible receivers and great corners, so they can just leave these guys on an island and just crowd the box against an OC who just wants to do 3 yards in a cloud of dust. I don't think it's going to work. And I think the Jets have the better passing game, and they're at home. And you have a Bills offense that just looks like it was completely a product of the schedule. The second they faced defenses with a pulse, they have crumbled. So, and Khalil Shakir, the injuries are horrible for Buffalo still. Shakir hasn't practiced. Ed Oliver, he's like their best player on defense, probably. He hasn't practiced. I mean, dude, I think the Jets could look really good in this game, and maybe we're just going to get a tremendous fade spot on the Jets right after that.
All right. So that's the card so far. But like I said, we've got 2 consensus games that did not make the card, including a game that is featured in both my top 5 and Brett's top 5. It is a double sounder game. Because all of us like the Panthers +6. Playing host to the Atlanta Falcons, who just threw for 500 yards in primetime. Kirk Cousins literally swag surfing with the entire crowd on the field. Nobody's ever going to stop this Atlanta offense. It's just going to roll on. Best ever. Meanwhile, all of the steam has come off of the Panthers' love. Andy Dalton stinks again. What were we thinking? Why would we ever click this team? So I'm seeing 89% of the tickets in favor of the Atlanta Falcons. 3.5 look ahead, open 5.5, sitting 6 in the contest. And it's just a spot to buy a team that is once again at its nadir, back home against an Atlanta team who I still, there are a lot of inconsistencies on offense for me to fully buy in to this team that just beat up on a hurt BUCS team making a road trip on a short week. I know it's gross, but I think this might be a spot to take the Panthers. So I am willing. 2 stinkers. Which one stinks less, the Titans or the Panthers?
Will Levis as a favorite is never good. I love the Panthers, so if that's the way you want to go, I'm fully on board with that.
All right, I'll keep thinking about it. We have a couple days until lineup lock and get to see some movement. The other one, we did it again. You knew we were going to do it again. You thought we might do it again and put him back on the card, but we did it again. We all picked the Cleveland Browns +10 against the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, are the Eagles good at football? I have to ask that question plainly because I don't care how bad a pro football team is. In 2024, where nobody is scoring points, this game, like everyone, has a total, I guess it's 42.5. I guess they had to adjust it to the 40s. If you're going to give a team -10, you have to put the total in the 40s because -10 at a 39 or 38 point total is just inconceivable. But nobody's scoring. The Eagles have stunk. Negative net yards per play. I'm seeing red all across. 24th in DVOA, 25th in net EPA. Are the Eagles good at football? This is so many points.
Thing is, the real Eagles might show up this week, though.
Based on competition, they might have a chance to get right here. Mo, you're actually the highest on the Cleveland Browns. You have them bubbling your top 5.
I mean, I haven't even seen a 10, I don't think, this week. So I don't even know where this number came from. That being said, I haven't been exactly tracking every minute of the lines, but once I saw 10, I was like, okay, I guess I have to put a check mark here. And then I started thinking about it, and yeah, it's this has to be the spot for the Browns, right? But at the same time, could I actually put real American dollars on Deshaun Watson at this point? I don't think I could stomach it, which probably means it's the right side. But I don't even know who the Eagles are going to have suited up, so it's really hard to be confident either way in this game. But I didn't have anything I liked this week, hardly.
Yeah, if there's
I have
ever
a question, a general question. If you're Kevin Stefanski, at what point do you start doing like career damage control? And
I think he is.
Coming out and saying like, this ain't me.
No, I think he is in clearly not allowing, like he's just saying that Deshaun is the like he's literally going to ride Deshaun into the ground. They are not going to bench him. He's trending to be the worst Browns quarterback ever, which is an outrageous statement considering the type of quarterback play that we've seen from this franchise. So I think just by trotting him out every single week, I think that is his career damage. I mean, we know Stefanski is sharp as the Devils, 2-time coach of the year. The things that he's done, given really, he's made chicken cordon bleu out of chicken shit. This guy is really good at his job. So to think otherwise is insane. So I think he's doing damage control just by playing the guy. But at what point does the locker room just have a mutiny? Like, but I think they might hate Jameis as much too. I heard Gerald McCoy this week.
Who hates Jameis?
No, I heard Gerald McCoy this week talking about Jameis and like the speeches he would give, and they're like, "Bro, just please stop talking."
He is the ultimate clown. He's fun though.
Yeah, for sure. All right, those are the consensus picks that didn't make the card. Is anybody left in Survivor? Is there a point to doing this segment? I busted last week. Thank you, Kyle Shanahan. Thank you, Jordan Mason. Well, more than anybody. Soft ass fumble blowing the game for San Francisco 49ers. Mo, you write the article. Must be more painful every single week. What do you got here?
Yeah, shouts to my editor, Steven. We're already talking about how soon we're going to axe the Survivor article this year, which I don't think we've ever discussed before week 12 or something. Maybe like 14, honestly.
That's insane.
Like, we're already like, okay, the views are down to, a couple thousand or whatever when they're starting at 15 or whatever. And it's like, nobody cares about Survivor.
Like 95%. Yeah, like everybody's out.
This is why Circa needs to launch. Jeff Benson, just launch a second chance already. What are people? You had 14,000 entries that are just sitting on the sidelines right now.
Yeah, add some island weeks. Add some more island weeks to it. I don't know. Like, make people pick like a Monday Night Football one week, right? Because you're gonna have to call the field somehow. Because you could get a bunch of people tying at the end. But yeah, I'm begging for a second chance of something anywhere. But Mo, who are people clicking this week?
I mean, I feel like it's just going to be Philly and Houston. A lot of Philly, a lot of Houston this week. I kind of like Cincinnati. I know everyone's like probably thinking they're going to use Cincinnati in week 9. If you're in like a huge pool, that's like definitely still going by then. They play the Raiders at home, and that's like their only easy game left pretty much. So, I don't know. I might use them here at Giants. I could see a few crazy people clicking on the BUCS too. That could be another pivot, but I have no interest really in road divisional favorites. But yeah, I think it's just going to be a lot of Atlanta, or a lot of Philly and Houston with some Atlanta. I think if you guys are right about Green Bay, that's probably a really good click. So I'm definitely willing to listen to you guys on that one. I don't have a strong opinion on that. So Green Bay could be a nice one if you are still alive and need an absolute devil.
I took Baltimore in my work Survivor. I was the only one who took them. I think there are 12 or 13 left. Because like Mo said, everybody's going to take Houston and Philly, and they did. So I was the only one on Baltimore, which was nice. I think I like Green Bay too, though.
How about the Jets? Super duper duper devil.
That would be the most. That would be the most devil.
But people probably already clicked them and lost against the Broncos, or survived against the Patriots.
Yeah, survived when everybody else was dust. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is Survivor for the week. I'm glad we didn't talk about it. We were a consensus on the Seattle Seahawks. But a kind of, I guess, a blown coverage on that Deebo Samuel 90-yarder or whatever it was, 80-yarder. It's currently 13-0 in favor of San Francisco. So, yes, we were consensus on the Hawks.
Blown coverage and the safety is an idiot.
Was it Jamal Adams? Was it Jamal?
He just went flying in like a bat out of hell.
Yeah,
and
sounds
just
like Jamal.
Tried to be a hero. I
Jamal
think he's absolutely out of control. They showed DK earlier on the headset screaming like upstairs. So, I mean, it seems like it's just a mess in Seattle.
Things are going well in the Pacific Northwest. All right, follow these guys on Twitter. Come on, Gino, got to make that throw. At Brett Colson, COLLSON, at Donnie_Peters, and at Mo Nuwara, NUWWARAH. I'm at Rich T. Ryan. Best of luck in your betting ventures this weekend. Absolutely need 5-0. Let's get it. See you next week, boys. Peace.